All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We have Daniel Romanchuk with us for an Adapted Home Training Tip Tuesday Move United session. I am Bree Pygorski, and I'm the Athlete Engagement Senior Coordinator with Move United. We're going to be recording this session for anyone unable to join us live tonight, and we'll also be adding it to our Adapted Home Resource Library at the end, so you can access it at any time to go back to it. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat box if you have any during the session. I know that Daniel is going to try to mix in a little answering during the workout, but we can also we'll also have some time at the end of the session to go over a live Q&A. But in the meantime, we're going to turn it over to Daniel, let him introduce himself, and we'll get started with the workout.
Well, thank you all for joining. It's good to see. I see a few familiar faces, so thank you all for joining. I guess I'll kind of start out with just letting you guys can go ahead and start warming up. I'm still gonna be, I'll talk for a little bit, but basically I'm just gonna be going over some details, some of which you may know, some of which you may not have heard before. But let's start out with what a warm-up is. So a warm-up is just to get your muscles moving, get extra blood flow to those muscles, so it's nothing fast or hard. It's just to kind of get things loose. You guys can go ahead and get started. I'm going to start a timer, and I'm going to do, I think I've got 10 minutes of warm-up here. So I'll start my clock and let that go. How much warm-up you do kind of depends on what workout you're doing and things like that. So I will typically, before a marathon, I like to get actually a decent amount of warm-up, probably 3 or so miles, maybe a little bit more than that. But I just want to make sure that everything is nice and loose. That is also why I never really recommend stretching before, before you're at least warmed up. It's just your muscles need that extra blood flow to kind of loosen up, and so that you're a lot less likely to get injured if you warm up before you stretch. Let's see. I guess kind of goes from there. I know I'm a little late to kind of say this, but some things you should think about before getting on the roller are, first of all, helmets. I always wear my helmet on the roller, and I have caught plenty of grief for doing so, but I have gotten concussions. I have fallen off of rollers before, and it was not early on in my career. It was a matter of about a year or so ago. Head injury is nothing that anyone should mess around with. And so always making sure you're wearing your helmet when you're on the rollers, and making sure that it is well fit. And so you want to make sure that the V here meets right below your ear, as well as the strap is nice and tight. If you're talking, you should kind of feel it coming up and down on your head a little bit. And the kind of the last reason to work out with your helmet on the roller is to kind of simulate how you would race. So I like to race, or I like to train how I'm going to race. And so after a winter of roller training, you can really get kind of out of certain habits, and that can lead to certain muscles kind of becoming developed in a certain way. And basically, if I spend the whole winter just looking down at the floor, and then I go out onto the road, and I have to have my head up to look around, look at road conditions, cars, and things like that, my neck is going to be really sore after about 5 minutes. And so that's another thing, is keeping your head up and having that extra weight of the helmet just makes sure that those neck muscles don't become a little weak over the winter. So kind of going from there, you want to make sure that you have everything that you're going to need to access during the workout nearby. So having a phone to do calculations, having, because I do a lot of workouts that are based off of a max speed, and so I need something to calculate that speed with, and making sure that tires are inflated, especially if you're on carbon fiber wheels. You don't want to you want to make sure that you do not bottom out in the middle of your workout, because then you'll have to potentially get another set of wheels. Let's see, making sure that your chair is appropriately set up on the rollers. So whatever you're using to secure it, if you're using Velcro straps or something to secure your front wheel, making sure that those are not old and they're sticking well, because really that's for two reasons. Number one, if it's not sticking well, you could potentially fall off the rollers in the middle of the workout. And number two, if I know that my Velcro is a little bit old and may fail in the middle of the workout, I'm never going to push as well as I could if I knew that I have some good Velcro securing my front wheel down. And then sorry. Well, yeah. And so I've got about 5 minutes through the warm up here. So yeah, you guys. So some of you guys I can see, some of you guys I can't. So yeah, you guys can keep warming up. I've got about 4 or 5 minutes left in the warm up. The last few things I think are making sure that you have speed with you. So a cat eye, Garmin, Polar, whatever you use to get your speed. Because a lot of the workouts that I do in the winter are actually speed-based. If you don't have speed, that's not a problem. You can use what's called RPE, or rate of perceived exertion. And so that's basically just kind of going off of how you feel. And so, either having speed with you, or yes, you can use RPE. I think, sorry? Oh yeah. Yep. Is that the last thing? Yeah, I think, yeah. The last thing is basically making sure that your axles are over top of each other. And so when I say that, I basically mean the axle of the racing chair is right over top of the axle of the roller. And it's actually, can you just pick that up? Sure. Yeah. Can you just pick that up? No. Okay, whatever. That's good. So basically making sure that the axle of, there it is. The axle of your wheel is directly over top of the axle of the roller. So you want to make sure that those are lined up, just because if they aren't, it can lead to a lot of extra stress being on your chair. And roller training is usually stressful enough. on a chair. So you don't want to introduce another, stress on your chair. Sometimes I've actually heard of people putting their chair a little bit off center, the axles kind of off center, in order to introduce some resistance, and that I do not recommend doing. Kind of just for the reason of it introduces stresses that your chair's just really not designed to undergo. So with that, I think I've got about a minute and a half of warm-up left. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to just either put those in the chat, or if you guys have access to the mics, you can just shout them out, and we can kind of write those down and know exactly how much time we should put at the end for answering those questions. About a minute left. And so, we're approaching the end of the warm-up here, so I always, after a warm-up, I do what is basically just a Vmax attempt, max velocity attempt. So that's just a pretty much an all-out sprint over about 30 seconds or so. That is just to get max speed to base the rest of the workout off of. So I've got my speed here. I'm gonna turn that on, and then we're at about 10:30 here, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. And then get a max speed attempt. Alrighty. And then once you've gotten that, you can go ahead and do calculations. So we're going to be using, looks like 90 to 95%, 88 to 90%, and 80 to 83%. So you're going to want to calculate basically for 80 and around 90%. And then we're going to, for the rests, we're actually going to be doing what's called an active rest. So that's where we're still moving during the rest, and we're not really sitting. And that'll probably be around just over half. So around 60 or so %. And so actually, I think that we will attach the different workouts that you guys can do at home on an email at the end of the session. And so you guys have something to reference. But yep, there we go. It was there for a second.
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me try that again here.
So basically today we'll be just doing about 4 different bits of workouts. So 4 different kinds of workouts that you can do on rollers. The first one is going to be concentrating on high speed, but relatively short duration. Second is going to be a little bit longer duration, still a pretty high speed, but maybe not quite as high. And then the third and fourth are more distance oriented, one of which is just a very steady speed, really not changing anything at all. And then the last one is, again, a longer thing, but it's we've got a little bit of variation in it. So I need to calculate my speeds. And so I think the first set that we'll be doing is going to be 2 by 30 seconds at 90 to 95% with 2-minute rest. And so again, that rest is going to be an active rest, so keeping it around 60–65% of your speed. Let's see. What do I? So right now I'm just calculating my speeds here, and actually, while I'm kind of talking about that real quick, these really are very personal numbers. So it's going to vary from person to person, and also on a day-to-day basis. And so this is something that I would pretty much always do before I begin a workout. And so something that you can do if you have say a cat eye, something that you can do, even I think most Garmin's and Polars, if they have a sort of a magnet sensor, you can usually set the size of wheel that you're on. And so you can actually use the ground to kind of help you get a good measurement. So what you can do is you can line up the valve stem at the bottom of the wheel, put some tape on the ground, and then do 1 full revolution of the wheel, put some more tape on the ground, and then measure that distance. And you have a good measurement of what your actual wheel size is. Because even your tires, what you're using for tires can really affect that. So you want to make sure that you have a good reading of that. So I think with that, let me go back to my clock and we can go ahead and get started. Where's the clock? There it is. And so just to go over this workout again, it's going to be 2 sets of 30 seconds at 90 to 95%, resting 2 minutes at 65%, and then we'll move on to the second part, which I'll go over that probably in the second rest. So I think we had a question come through. I'm just, yeah, I just want to make sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and start in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's 30 seconds at 90 to 95. Got about 5 seconds left. right, 2 minutes break. And so this kind of workout is really stressing that that high speed, sort of the fine movements at high speed, and making sure that you can have a good short burst of speed. And so this is going to be an active recovery going at approximately 50% of your max speed, maybe a little bit higher than that. And then we'll do one more of these. I've got us at about 1 minute's rest here. About 30 seconds to go. About 15 seconds. This is going to be, again, 30 seconds at 90 to 95. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Got about 10 seconds left, almost there. And nice job. All right, 2 minutes back at just above 50. And then the next one we're going to be doing is the 2 minutes at a slightly lower speed. So around 80, this says about 88 to 90%. So a little bit lower speed. But this is working on a more hard excel, but also kind of dragging it out a bit. And so if you guys need to get a drink, you can take a short break for that. But I do recommend having your drink nearby, so you don't have to break up your workout to get out of your chair and go get it. All righty. Got about a minute left in the rest, and then we're going to be doing 2 sets of 2 minutes at 88 to 90% with 1 minute rest. And so these are some pretty high intensity workouts here. So these will hurt a bit, but the last two are more steady at a little bit lower speeds. So I got about 10 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 2 by 2 minutes at 88 to 90%. About 20 seconds in. About a quarter of the way there. We're approaching 1 minute. We're almost halfway there. And we are at 1 minute. And I'm making sure to keep my head up. It's an easy thing to forget about. Got about 40 seconds left. We're almost there, guys. About 20 seconds. Ten seconds left. Nice job, guys. Got 1 minute of active recovery. And then go into number 2. And some things to think about again are keeping your head up. That's a very easy thing to forget about during these workouts, but it will save you a lot of pain in the spring. Alrighty, got about 10 seconds left. Our last one, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good, we're at about 30 seconds. Looking good, guys. We're at about almost a minute. So make sure to keep that speed. We're almost there. Got about 30 seconds left. 10, 5. Nice job. So that was it for the high speed stuff. So now we're gonna move into some slightly lower speeds, but a little bit more, a little bit longer stuff, but not, yeah, not as high speed. Oh, that's 2.5%.
Yeah,
That's
that's 25.
25. Wow. Yeah, we're kind of modifying the workout as we go. We're just depending on how much time we have, and there was a slight miscommunication. It's 2.5, not 25. And so, you guys don't forget to drink every once in a while. And so the next thing we'll be doing is going to be 2.5 minutes at a steady 80 to 83%. And so, I'm losing track of time. What?
It's 5:30.
What's the time?
6:30.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay, I have no idea.
doing some calculations. Okay. So 2.5 minutes. 80%. Alrighty, going at about 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This is a nice steady 80 to 83%. 2.5 minutes. We're about 15 seconds in. Two minutes left. Doing good. Got about 1.5 minutes left. Got about 1 minute left, guys. Doing good. Got about 30 seconds left. We're almost there. Five seconds left. Is that
You can do that.
do the last one?
Yeah, a little bit. No, just one.
Just one.
Just cut them in half. Cut them in half. Just 1 minute at each.
One at each. Okay.
Or random. You can find a random sprint. Just a random sprint. A 2 minute with a random sprint.
Not okay. And so the first two workouts, we're kind of working on the sprinting, first of all, higher speed, and then stretching it out over a distance. And then this is going to be, these last two are more distance workouts, and they're working on a good pace over a longer distance. That first one was just keeping it at a steady rate, not moving it really. And this next one is going to be kind of moving it up and down just a little bit. And so we're going to do about, I think we got about time for 1 minute at 75 and 1 minute at 85. And this is kind of a workout that's commonly called a fartlek. And that is basically concentrating on keeping a good pace, but also simulating some speed variation in it, kind of simulating a race. And so keeping everything at a nice intensity, and then occasionally picking it up. So I think I'm gonna see how much time we, there we go. Starting in about 15 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this first minute is at 75, and then the next one is at 85. For about almost 30 seconds. Doing good, guys. For about 45. For the next 1 minute, we're gonna bump it up to 85. And so about 5 seconds. And up to 85. Just a little bit of a speed increase here. For about 25 seconds in. Thirty seconds left. Got about 15 seconds left. And 5 seconds. And nice job. So now you guys can go ahead and go into a cool down. And so the importance of a cool down is to kind of flush your muscles of any lactic acid they've built up, and kind of just keep things nice and loose. Don't let them kind of seize up, because they will kind of do that after some of these workouts. And so just kind of keep moving.
If you want to go ahead, just time-wise, probably have the metronome.
Oh, yep.
And then I'll ask the questions.
Yep. Okay. And so some things that you guys can use, again, is more data points to kind of help you guide your workout is heart rate monitor. And so I use one by Polar, and it's a really nice one. It actually is a small little thing. You can kind of see it glowing green there. And it's a small little thing, probably around the size of maybe around a dime or a bit larger. But it basically is nice and small. It fits either on your helmet or there are other straps for it, like an arm strap or I think a chest strap. But for me, it's nice and convenient. It also has a helmet strap, and it works pretty well. And so you can use heart rate to kind of guide your workouts as well as if you want to work on your hand speed at all and controlling that, you can use a metronome. And so these, you basically turn it on and it'll start beeping, and you can set the pace that it'll beep at, and you can kind of push to that rhythm. And so you can work on your hand speed if you want using one of those. So I think with that, we're gonna kind of get into the questions here.
Right. So this, so I think this first question was, what are the best places to get a roller if you're looking to buy a roller? What are some of the options you have?
Yep. So if you're looking to get a roller, there are a few different options. The roller that I'm on right now is a Revolution Sports roller, and so they're a big heavy-duty roller. They're pretty good for training, and so they're from a company based in Canada, and so that's one option. Another option is Eagle. They also make another roller. It's a pretty another kind of pretty big roller, and they all kind of roll the same as far as those two, as far as I can remember. It's been a while. I've been on a Revolution roller for a few years now. There's also Top End. I believe they make rollers. Able Sport also just started to make a roller. And so there are and that is not a full list either. There are a number of other people who make them, but those are pretty much the most common ones out there. You can also look to see if you can get them used, and so that'll hopefully kind of save you some money.
We can. There was you did the session.
And also, good point.
Yeah.
So there was actually, if you go to Move United's, I believe it is YouTube page, they have a bunch of videos on an equipment series that Kriegsport and I did earlier this year. And there is a session in there that we spoke about rollers, so you can kind of find a little bit more of information about them at that video.
We can send out the links.
I think we can also send out the links to that.
Okay, and then the next question is, are track and roller workouts fairly similar to each other, or are you working on different things if you're on the road versus on the rollers?
Yeah, so the roller workouts are great to kind of work on your technique for your stroke, and so they're actually a pretty vital part of training, really. There's a time where even if we could get out year-round, so I'm out at the University of Illinois, and so we get quite cold in the winter. But even if we could go out year-round, we still would get in and work on some roller work probably a few months a year. It's just vital to get that stroke technique in, that practice on the rollers. It's really, really vital to getting your technique.
Okay, and then when you work on hand speed,
Yep.
do you still do a full extension of your stroke? Like if you were trying to work on a really rapid hand speed?
So some of that kind of depends on whether you're working on it for a start or whether you're working on it for, say, an acceleration while you're already moving. And so, especially on a start, those first few strokes are shorter. They're not complete full strokes. They're quick, get back on the ring, short strokes. And then this is something that I think kind of varies per person. So you can kind of play around with it and see what happens. A lot of this sport is just trying new things and kind of seeing how it goes. So it's a little hard to say.
You want to show us a start, like what a standing start, because that's another thing.
Okay.
Yeah, just show us standing start a minute.
Can you tilt the screen?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So a standing start is, I'm going to start probably around, what's this? I can't.
I just, if you're looking at it that way,
That's
I don't
gonna
know.
be, what, 9
Yeah,
something?
10,
Yeah. So I start somewhere around 10 or so, and then because I'm a T54, I have core function, and so I kind of lift my upper body up a little bit before the start, and then do a full, pretty much a full first stroke. But again, I'm not lifting and stretching for any of this. It's quick, get back on the roller, or get back on the ring. There's really no lift and stretch to this at all. It's fast, get back on it as fast as you can.
Can you repeat the name of the heart rate monitor?
The heart rate monitor. So the one that I use is from Polar. And so they also make speedometers, and I'm not sure there is an official name for it, but it's on Polar. Is that it?
Yeah, I think,
okay.
So I think that is the end of the questions, unless anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Well, thank you all for joining me, and I had a great time. And I think I will hand it back off to Bree.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate you taking the time to run us through that workout. I definitely did not work up a sweat like you guys did, but I'll definitely keep everything in mind moving forward. And we can send out any of those equipment series links that Daniel talked about as well in a follow-up email to all of you. But like you mentioned, they're on our YouTube page and in our Adapted Sports Resource Library. I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have an Adapted Home Challenge week this week. So every day this week, you can use a item from your Adapted Home fitness kit. And if you don't have one, you can still request one and be eligible to win prizes. So please take a look at our social media or our resource library for that. And Daniel, if anyone's interested in following you on social media, how would they go about doing that?
So I am on both Instagram and Facebook, and I'm verified on both, and so it should be pretty easy. Just look for my name.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. And I, again, appreciate your time, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.